actually have a really fun factoid. Everyone loves a factoid. So you know the recycling symbol?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know that the recycling symbol is in the public domain, which means that there's no rules about how it can be used. So it can be put on any product packaging. And if you look at any product packaging in your home right now, you will see the recycling symbol and it'll have things like not yet recyclable written inside it. Or it'll say things like recycle at supermarket. So there's no rules anywhere in the world except California. They just put in a rule that states that you could only use the recycling symbol on products you can justify or prove can be recycled within the state of California. That's part of why recycling is such a problem, because it's a manipulative tool because people want to do the right thing. And then this little symbol, which we all recognize, can kind of be used to kind of make people feel good, but it actually doesn't solve the problem. Because if you can chuck a recycling symbol on anything, you can basically trick somebody into believing it's recyclable even if it's not. It's complex because our supply chains are so globalized right now that something produced in one market is going to be sold into multiple markets. So if we had all of these different rules and laws about this one tool, the recycling label, that could create a lot of confusion. I think there needs to be a universal rule about how it's used. And then that would enable some sort of localized level, because every recycling system is different. But it actually was developed by the plastics industry in the 90s as a way of encouraging people to not be concerned about the fact that most plastic is not recyclable, because your drink bottles are recyclable, but most other plastics aren't, because it's not cost effective or because of the way the polymers are combined. So the recycling industry, they are battling a lot of this misinformation. They're the ones who have to be burdened with these poor communication decisions that then mean that people wish cycle, or companies are kind of manipulating people. So for me, it's actually a really critical part of solving the waste crisis is getting this communication standardized. And I think if we had a universal rule about how communication on products about recyclability, and perhaps again, that's back to that digital product passport that might override that. So yeah, it's an interesting space and I'm intrigued to see what happens in it, yeah. Well, okay, so recycling and wish cycling, disposability, that's all end of pipe, right? That's all like post-consumer. It's literally the Band-Aid solution. So the real solution comes back all the way down the pipe in the design, supply chain, the input phase. So this is really where it's like going to the doctor and actually having some sort of, plan to heal your health rather than just, a kind of quick fix solution down the end here. So it's really a longitudinal plan that is about understanding the system and making decisions that fit. So one thing that's really important to understand is this is a full system transformation. You can't, for example, there's all these bio-based materials now. You have polylactic acid, you have seaweed-based solutions, there's lots. It's really cool. It's a very innovative space. Now, if you convert a single-use plastic product like a water bottle to one of those materials, you might gain some environmental performance because actually it's hard because the plastic performs so well in the sense that the input of getting it out of the ground and turning it into plastic is actually, there's not a lot of energy used in that. Whereas some of the bio-based materials, you have to grow them, so you have all these inputs on land. So they can actually perform worse from that perspective. So the real gain is what happens at the end of life. Now, if you have the plastic one, it could be burnt for energy, it could be recycled and reused, but that's, like we've talked about, only 9%, or it could end up escaping into nature and causing environmental damage, right? So there are some of the options. So if you've got the bio-based one, if it goes into nature, okay, it's not so bad. It could also be converted into energy, but really it's best to go into a biodigester, which is an industrial facility that takes bio-based materials and converts it into energy. You create methane or methane, which can be then tapped and used as a power alternative, and you then get the constituent parts, those biomaterials that can be redeployed. So in order for that to be a successful system, you need governments to invest in biodigesters. So you can have that innovation level, like the material innovation, then you can apply it to your products or services. But then you need that systems level change, and then you also need consumers to know the difference between a poly-based plastic and a bio-based plastic and how to not put one in the general recycling and one in your compost. You see? It's complex. That's why systems thinking is so important. You have to be able to get that bird's eye view and not just get attached to one simple solution. This is the thing about innovation. It's not just something that you kind of wake up one day and you have, even if you do wake up one day with an incredible idea, it's going to take a long time to turn that idea into a reality. And it's just like nature, you don't just start with a seed and tomorrow have delicious vegetables. It takes time and inputs and resources and care and all these things to grow that outcome that you need. So, I think it's so important to see this as a process, to be excited by it, to be willing to deal with the complexity, and to see that anytime you do this, you're always going to gain in some way, even if that's through learning what not to do.